Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, because what we can see right now in the Bitcoin price action is actually that we are in this descending parallel channel right here. And of course, we are trading inside a weekend as well. So usually, as you can see right here, there isn't a lot of volatility inside the weekend. And likely we can just expect to see some more choppy sideways price action until the markets actually open again on Monday. And while we are in this descending channel right here, it is a good time to take a look at the Bollinger Bands indicator, because right now the Bollinger Bands are actually compressing closer and closer together. And if we see this continue here, where they really compress hard, then usually you can expect a volatile move coming sometime soon. And this can be to the upside and to the downside. For example, right here, where first you saw the Bollinger Bands widening for a little bit, but then in this section right here, the Bollinger Bands compressed. And after that, we saw that sharp push to the upside right here. And this was about a 7% move in the Bitcoin price in a very short amount of time. Because remember, we are looking at the 4-hour time frame right now. And another example is right here in this green box, because again, we saw the Bollinger Bands kind of widening at first. And then they really compressed hard in this section right here. And after that, we saw a sharp move to the downside, again, of about 6% to the downside. So potentially we could be seeing some big moves in the Bitcoin price sometime soon if we do see these Bollinger Bands continuing to compress. Though for now, what we can see in the RSI momentum indicator is actually that we are near the 50 level here. And whenever the RSI is at 50, it means that the price action is basically neutral. So there isn't too much bullish momentum and there isn't too much bearish momentum either. And like I said, this is, of course, because we are trading inside a weekend. So this is very normal price action to see right now. So now taking a look at the support and resistance levels on the shorter time frames. Recently, we actually touched the 0.618 Fibonacci level at 67.2K. And we found some support there and are now seeing a bit of a bounce. So for now, we held this as a level of support. Though in the case that you do see the Bitcoin price trading below that 67.2K level, for example, seeing some price action where we go below it, get some candle closes on the 4-hour time frame, go back up to this level to retest it, and then get a rejection, it means that we have turned this level of current support into a level of resistance. And in that case, we do need to start looking lower. For example, this 0.5 Fibonacci level sitting at 65.2K. So taking a look at this chart right here, you can see that again, we have this Fibonacci level right here. So this should act as a big level of support. Though, like I said, in the case that we trade below it, we will likely just go lower, right? So we have this big level of support sitting from 66,000 all the way down to 65,000 US dollars. Though if this was the entire move to the downside from this recent downtrend, and we will now start to trade up higher, in that case, you need to pay attention to this level of resistance sitting at 68.5K all the way up to 70,000 US dollars. And above that, we might face some short-term resistance sitting at about 70.5K as well. So these are the two critical levels to pay attention to. And that 70.5K level is actually critical resistance because, as you can see right here on the daily time frame, we are again in this descending channel, which we have been consolidating in for a couple of weeks at this point, ever since the top at 73K. And in terms of this top side resistance right here, it is actually sitting exactly at 70.5K as well. So this will be very tough resistance for the Bitcoin price. And of course, this does trend down over time. So that is something to take into consideration if you're trading Bitcoin right now. For example, if it takes a couple more days before the Bitcoin price reaches this level, if it reaches this level, well, then the level of resistance will already be at 70.2K, for example. So that is important to pay attention to. Either way, as a broader market outlook here, the most we can expect in terms of upside is actually this 70.5K level that I was talking about earlier. And in terms of the downside, it is actually as low as 57.6K. So both of those price levels are still completely on the table so long as we are still trading inside this descending channel. But of course, like I was talking about earlier, there are a bunch of levels of support in between the current price and that bottom side of the descending channel. But we will just talk about it when we get there, because for now, I think this 58K level is very far-fetched and we cannot expect the Bitcoin price to just go straight to that level on Monday, for example. Before I move on with the Bitcoin analysis, I do want to mention this $250 giveaway that I'm doing inside the Discord server, because I'm giving away 250 USDT to a random community member somewhere next week. In fact, I will be doing it on Sunday, which is in about 8 days. So if you're new here and you are somehow still not inside the Discord server yet, I highly recommend you go join it, because this is a very active community of people that are trading crypto every single day. And you can just read everyone's analysis. And of course, we do have that $250 giveaway running right now. So if you do end up joining, make sure to go to the announcements channel inside the server, and then you can read more about the giveaway. Moving on to the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, first of all, on the 3-day time frame, what we can see right now is that recently we took out a lot of liquidity to the downside, exactly as I predicted in one of my recent videos. However, there is still a lot of liquidity sitting right here, as low as 66.3K. So this is an important level to pay attention to, because in the case that you don't know, typically the Bitcoin price gets attracted to where there is the most liquidity on this chart. So in this case, sitting as low as 66.3K. And yes, there is even more liquidity down here, all the way down to about 64K. So this is important to pay attention to if you are in a long trade right now, or actually if you're looking to short the market. Either way, there is also a lot of liquidity to the upside right here, but it is true that in fact most of the liquidity is to the downside. So that is important to take note of. And zooming out to the 1 week time frame, we can actually see a similar story with a lot of liquidity to the upside and to the downside. So potentially we could be seeing another move similar to this one right here. But because both of these levels right here are so close to the price, I do think it is likely that we are sweeping both of those levels sometime soon. Now moving on to the Bitcoin ETF flow tables for today, because yesterday we saw another net inflow of about $50 million worth of Bitcoin being bought on Friday. So overall, this is a good thing to see, although the inflows are not massive, because on average, the Bitcoin ETFs are buying $140 million worth of Bitcoin. So $50 million is actually a relatively small inflow. And we did see the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF buying about $170 million worth of Bitcoin. However, it was pretty much entirely neutralized by this massive outflow from the Grayscale Bitcoin ETF investors, who sold about $124 million worth of Bitcoin on Friday. Now moving on to Ethereum on the 4-hour time frame, because in yesterday's video, I talked about this bullish divergence, which is whenever you see higher lows in the Ethereum price and lower lows in the RSI momentum indicator. And like I said in yesterday's video, usually you'll see a break from all of this bearish momentum, and more likely you'll either see some choppy sideways price action or potentially even some bullish momentum. And as you can see in the chart, that is exactly what happened since yesterday's video. So this bullish divergence is actually playing out exactly as expected, where basically, yeah, we got a little bit of bullish momentum on the shorter time frames, but basically we're just seeing some choppy sideways price action. And I do expect this to continue throughout the weekend, and potentially when the markets open again on Monday, we need to start looking at a potential invalidation of this bullish divergence, or where we just really get that push to the upside. But for now, I'm not expecting too much volatility in the immediate short term. And just to be completely clear, in the case that you missed yesterday's video, in the case that you see Ethereum trade below this trend line, it actually invalidates the bullish divergence. And what that means is that, yes, right now, it is very unlikely to see bearish momentum, but if we do invalidate the bullish divergence, then more bearish momentum is back on the table again. So zooming into the 1-hour time frame for Ethereum, it is pretty much the same story, just seeing some choppy price action right here. There is this big level of support sitting from 3,800 all the way down to 3,750. So potentially we can just continue to see this bounce from here, just like we saw right here as well. And if we do see that continued push to the upside, then the next level of resistance, after we clear this previous high right here at about 3,830, is actually at 3,850. And if you do see Ethereum trade above it, and then flipping this into a level of support, well, then likely we will be heading up to this next level of resistance, sitting at about 3920, though that is about it for the bullish scenarios for now, because in the case that you see Ethereum trade below this level of support, so below this 3750 level, where you get maybe a move down, retest, and then a rejection from there, well, then likely we will be heading to this next level of support below that, sitting at 36.50. And if we really get some bearish momentum here, trading below that 36.50 level, then likely we will fall into this next level of support, sitting from 35.30 all the way down to 34.30 for the price of Ethereum. But for now, that big level of support below is not really much to worry about because, like I said, we do have this as a level of support and then this as another level of support below that in the case that we get some bearish momentum. So those are the key price levels to pay attention to for ETH right now. Now moving on to Solana, which is doing exactly what I have been talking about in my recent videos, which is just consolidating between these two Fibonacci levels right here. So we do have that 0.5 Fibonacci level sitting at $163. And then above that, we do have the 0.618 Fibonacci level sitting at about $174. And in terms of the Fibonacci levels right here, so long as we are not breaking it to the upside or to the downside right here, we can just expect this consolidation to continue for quite some time. Though do keep in mind that this is the 1 hour time frame. So this is talking about the immediate short term here, where we will just likely to see some more consolidation, at least for the remainder of this weekend. Though there are some important price levels to pay attention to, for example, on this 4 hour time frame, where recently we broke this downtrend. So first we were trading down, broke the downtrend, and now we are actually trading in this little uptrend right here. And this uptrend is important to pay attention to because if you see a break of this trend line right here, well, then we might be seeing some more bearish momentum in the short term here. So for now, as of the time of recording, the level of support here is actually sitting exactly at $163. So that is another level where you could see a bounce from, especially because right now, at least, it aligns perfectly with that 0.5 Fibonacci level that I was talking about earlier. Though, of course, this trend line does trend up over time. So the level of support is going to rise over time as well. So now taking a look at some more support and resistance levels for Solana. You can see that right now Solana is actually in this level of resistance, sitting from 166 all the way up to $171 for the price of Sol. Though in the case that you do see the price trade above that, flipping this into a level of support, well then likely we will be heading up to this next level of resistance, sitting at 176, all the way up to $181 for the price of Solana. Though if we do see a rejection right now, there is some short-term support right here at 164, and then right below that at 163, we again have that Fibonacci level. But if you do see Solana trade below that, flipping it into a level of resistance, then the next short-term level of support is going to be at $160. So clearly there are a lot of support levels below the current price of Solana right now. So this has been today's market update video. Don't forget to join the Discord community so you can get access to that giveaway as well that I mentioned earlier in the video. Anyways, I will see you tomorrow in the next one.